This is a lightning round of the seeds I'm distributing this year for the 2025 winter sow. First, I'll show you the my favorite seed website. It's Prairie Moon Nursery. So the spreadsheet I have doesn't have pictures. So if you're interested, come to this website. You can look at pictures of the plant, and at the bottom, if you scroll down a little bit, it has attributes. So the attributes on my spreadsheet are from here: height, the bloom duration, color, soil type, sun type. So Prairie Moon is in Minnesota, so this isn't exactly this is not our eco region, but it should be close. So the bloom time may shift a few weeks or so, but it's close enough. I've got, I think it was 60 different seed types I'm offering this year. And like I said, it's lightning around just to tell you a little bit about what I know about these plants from having them in my own garden and watching them. I'm not a botanist. I don't can't spell or pronounce the Latin name, so I speak in the common name. They're in alphabetical order by Latin name. That way it's grouped when we talk about them. For example, the milkweeds are together here. Um, some things about the spreadsheet. If it's highlighted in this column C, common name, it's because I've not distributed that seed before. So if you've come to my workshops before, and you want something new, it's the yellow in this column. If the sun is highlighted, it's because it grows in shade. So for example, this one it can grow in full sun, part sun, or full shade. Full shade, shade, shade. And not many are limited to one sun type. Here's one, for example, the grass, it's full sun only, but most of them are either the whole spectrum or at least part sun. And over on the right side, the highlights are the bloom time. So this is June, July, August, September. This species is in bloom. And I don't remember what the difference is in color in this area. Okay, the anise hyssop, we have a native one called purple giant hyssop. I like this anise hyssop because it's shorter. It's a near native. Near native meaning New York State-ish. So it doesn't quite get to New England, but it's close enough. And I like it also because it smells like licorice. Pearly Everlasting, and there's another one below called Sweet Everlasting. They're both host plants. It's a short one, 2 feet. So it's really good for a smallish garden. And the interesting thing about this one is it blooms for a long time. It blooms early and it also blooms late. The early bloomers, that some butterfly will find it and lay eggs and make a cocoon. So it'll pull these flowers and stems together to protect them. But don't worry, because when those butterflies leave, the plant will bloom again, and that's when I collect the seeds at the second bloom. I don't know too many grasses, native grasses, but this one is big blue stem. Later, you'll see a couple other ones like little blue stem, but this is a tall, floppy one. It's 7 feet. The a lot of people will buy the cultivar because it's not as floppy. But if you don't want the floppy, you can probably tie it up part way so it will stay upright. But it's a tall native grass and it would be a host plant. Tall thimbleweed, it says it blooms for 3 months. I actually didn't see mine in bloom. I turned around in probably August and I saw the seed head and it looks like cotton, elongated cotton, and the seeds are embedded in there. So I don't remember what the flower looks like, but it is an interesting one and it's short. It's 3 feet. My soil is, I have it in my rock garden, so it doesn't, probably the roots don't get as big, so mine did not get 3 feet tall. Red columbine, you probably heard of it. It's a really good one, especially if you like red. 2 to 3 feet tall. These two are milkweeds. I don't distribute common milkweed, which is a native because it's aggressive by rhizome. These two are better behaved in the garden. Um, Rose milkweed is taller than the butterfly weed. And I found the rose milkweed, uh, it, it's fussy on the soil. If it totally fizzled out at one place where I had it, so it might want to self seed. I'm not sure. Um, because I tended when I do the seed collecting, I collected all the seeds. I didn't let any of that drop, and it fizzled out in that spot. And it was in medium full sun, so the medium soil full sun. So it looks like I had it in the right place, but it did fizzle out. So maybe let that one self seed and let it continue like that. I don't know. So watching that one. The butterfly weed, the critters can get to it. I had it right next to the rose milkweed, medium soil, and it does come back. But if you if you're worried, you can put some wire mesh around it to keep critters away. I don't really like to do that too much because it's distracting. Pawpaw, it's a I think it's a shortish tree and it makes a tropical tasting fruit and it's native. So I'm growing that for the first time. A lot of my friends talk about that one. And so I'm going to grow that. I've got a couple seeds to share, not very many. I've not grown Canadian milk vetch before. Don't know much about it, but I've got the seed this year. Yellow wild indigo, the critters like that one. It's a short, it says perennial to me. I always think shrub when I see that one. Maybe I'm not sure if this is a mistake or if it is a shrub. Anyway, it's a good one and it's native. The blue indigo is the one you see more often, which is not native to here. I think that one's a near native. This is our native one. If you see a shading like this, it means it's a state listed rare protected plant. This one's hairy woodmint. There are two variations I know of. This one is scented. Another one has no scent. So if you get these seeds, when you grow it, it will be the scented one. And it's for the at-risk bees. And it grows in full shade if you have a full shade situation, 3 feet tall. Buttonbush likes wet soil. It grows naturally. You'll see it near a pond, for example, or wetlands. Fireweed, it's aggressive by rhizome, and I've I've buried plastic edging to see if I can get it to contain within an area. I'll see if it hops over the edging or if the roots go under the edging, but you know that the edging's a good 4 inches deep. So as long as the roots don't go too deep, that should do the trick. But I'm watching that one. White turtlehead, it's a tallish white one, and it's a good example of co-evolution because the shape of the flower head, it closes up and only the strongest bumblebees can get in. And when they get in, it's that perfect fit. The bumblebee is roundish, the flower head is roundish, can get in, and that's what pollinates it is the native bees. A honeybee can't fit in there, the non-native honeybee. They didn't evolve together. Northern bush honeysuckle is a shrub. Hopefully it's a mowable shrub because I uh, cut it down at the end of the year this year. Hopefully it comes back. If it's not a mowable shrub and I did that, it might be done, but we'll see. It grows in full shade and it's a shortish one, 3 feet. Not many people are distributing seed of that one yet. So I distributed last year and this year. Not a lot, but I do have some. Flat top asters bloom later in the year. You can see this is July, August, September. 4 feet. I think it's taller than that though. Here, if you have it in the right soil and sun. Purple love grass is native grass, short. It at the end of the summer, this is July or August, it makes a purple plume. So the plume comes up higher than the green foliage, turns purple, and if you have enough of them, it will make a blanket of purple like a cloud. And shortly after it will dry up, that plume will break off because it dries up and gets brittle, and it'll blow around like a tumbleweed, and that's how it distributes the seed. And I'm not worried. I'm not too worried about it escaping and getting in a lawn, for example, because it does look like this little blue stem. It does look like normal green grass. Um, and I have purple love grass mixed into my lawn, and I know because when I skip a mow, it'll start to show that plume will come up, and then I mow around it, and then I collect seed from it. Really, I'd like to dig up those, and I do when I have time, but there are a couple more. Dig up and locate it out of the lawn in the garden. I think it's a nice ornamental uh, grass for the flower garden. Boneset, I think it's on the aggressive side. I saw it jump around a lot, so I deadhead that when I'm finished with the seed collecting because I want my gardens are a bit on the formal side, and I like to have them in their own spot and not mixed in like a meadow style. So I maintain with deadheading a lot of my seeds just for that sake. We have four native Joe Pies. The coastal is the one I usually distribute seeds of only because it's the shortest one. It's 4 feet. I also have some hollow Joe Pye at 6 feet, and the other two, purple Joe Pye and I forget the other one, are too tall for a garden, so I'm not distributing those ones. Closed gentian is another one where the flower head is closed up and only the strongest bumblebees can fit in there, same shape as the bumblebee, because they evolved together. I really like this one. It's a short one, 2 feet. First year it'll stay small, really short, and the second year it will grow tall and bloom. So be patient with that one, but it's a really great one. Swamp Rose Mallow, I've not distributed those seeds before. I don't have that many, so I'm only collecting from my one plant that I have. It's a hibiscus. The one most people have is um oh, I can't remember the name right now. I'll come back. But there's a non-native one, not even from the US, probably from Europe. Uh, and this is our native one. This is a rare one. These are all St. John's wort. They're all yellow. The shrubby is a shrub. The gray is taller, and um, the spotted one is it can be aggressive, but it also fizzles out where you originally put it. So because it fizzles out, I let it grow where it shows up because I'm worried that I'm gonna lose it if I transplant and dig up or weed out where it shows up because like I said, it fizzled out at the one location where I had it, so I just let it do what it wants to do. The most of the St. John's wort you see around here is the non-native one. So Uh, if you see, and that's what this is the one that the non-native one is the one that gives it the bad reputation. You can tell this one from the non-native. The non-native has some spots on the leaves, I think on the perimeter. This one has spots, little dots, little teeny tiny dots on both sides of the leaves, I believe. That's how to tell this one. And if you see the other one, you should weed it out. Uh, most irises you see around here are not native. This is the native one. The bearded iris, I'm switching out to this one. I've got a lot of the bearded iris in my garden that I inherited here at my house, and they're getting changed out to this one. It's a really beautiful flower. It grows in wet to medium soil. I have it medium. I've got a friend who grows it in the water. That's how wet tolerant it is in a pond. Um, but medium is fine, and I don't do any special watering, and it's fine. And it's 3 feet. New England Blazing Star. It's the monarchs love it. I photographed, I think it was 5 monarchs on one plant 2 summers ago. The rabbits like it that first year. They probably like it after that, but first year you definitely want to keep it protected or it's going to disappear. Put it one of those Dollar Tree wire baskets upside down on it. And you don't even need to put a rock because when a rabbit sees that, they're not smart enough to knock it over. So they just avoid it, even if even if it's just something on top like that. Don't even need to weight it down. Second year, they probably still like it, but my second year, I took all that stuff off and they grew and went to flower. So I don't have it protected anymore. Cardinal flower, um, the hummingbirds love it because it's red and it's native, 4 feet. That's a really great one. It's a lobelia. I'm not distributing the blue lobelia, which is a state listed plant here, because the seeds that we're all passing around are, I think, from Minnesota. They look different than the native one that I see on the state website about it, showing pictures of it being rare. And it looks different and it behaves different. The one we're passing around is very aggressive, and it makes a whole lot of seeds because there's so many flowers on the stem. Where the uh, the native ecotype one looks more like this cardinal flower, which has fewer flowers on the stem. So I have a lead to get the native ecotype one, and when I grow that, I'll distribute those seeds. But I'm not distributing that one anymore until I get my hands on the local ecotype one. Wild lupin was just added to the state list this year, so it's a protected one. It's a really great one, but after it blooms, it gets floppy and leggy looking when the seeds dry up. Also, this one, the bugs get on there, aphids, I think. And last year, I just let the aphids do their thing, thinking that they wouldn't ruin the plant, but they did. I didn't. On the one patch at Watson Park, they ate so much of it that it didn't even flower. Therefore, I didn't even get seeds. I did collect some seeds at other places where I have that plant. So if I see those aphids, I'm squishing them with my fingers for the sake of letting them go to flower and feed the pollinators. I didn't think I would need to do that. So it was basically a test watching it to see what would happen. And now I know. Allegheny monkey likes wet. I've got it growing in medium, but I think it's struggling in the medium. Um, but put it in wet and watch it and see what happens. It's 3 feet. It's a really great one. This is a tall one, wild bergamot. I must have it in soil that it really likes because mine's way higher than 4 feet and it makes a lot of seed. It has the flower heads are tubular, so the long tongue bees can get in there to feed. And it reminds me of dreadlocks because the the tubes come out on all sides and they come up and hang down a bit like dreadlocks. This is another Monarda spotted bee balm. It makes a lot of seeds and it's aggressive. It will spread. So when I'm done collecting, I deadhead that one. Uh, White goldenrod, actually, that same plant has two different Latin names, which is weird. Usually it's the other way. Usually uh, plants share common names, but this one is the opposite, where the common name has two different Latin names. Anyway, it's a goldenrod. I mean, sorry, it's a white one, which is I think rare for a goldenrod, and it's short, 1 to 2 feet tall, and it's state listed. Foxglove, these two are penstemons. Foxglove is the taller one, 4 feet. It has a really pretty blue, red foliage in the fall. And Northeast Beard Tongue is the state listed one. It's short, 1.5, 2 feet tall. And the rabbits got to one of my patches and didn't even let it get to flower. I did collect some at another place where I have that plant, and it can grow in full shade all the way to full sun. But if you have rabbits and you don't feel like haven't doing any high maintenance protecting, then you wouldn't want that one. But it's short, so I really like that one. A herd obedient plant can be aggressive if it's by itself and doesn't have root competition. I think in a meadow situation, it the plants around it would keep it in check. But if it's just in a formal garden bed, I heard it spreads by rhizome. I've got it in formal garden beds. I've not seen that happen, but everyone says that's what it does. So I'm still watching that one. But I really like it because the common name obedient plant is because the flowers are tubular, so long-tongued bees would get in there, and when you can push it with your finger and it will stay there. Look that way, it will stay there. Look that way, it will stay there. You can point the flower heads. So it's pretty fun with uh the kids in the garden. Self-heal is a short one. It moves around. I find it doesn't stay put. Uh, and it's also a yard weed. So if you're concerned about your lawn, uh, put it somewhere where it's not too close to the lawn so you can keep it contained. It will jump. So if you have it right adjacent to your lawn, it will probably jump into your lawn. You might not want that. I mentioned the everlastings before. Sweet everlasting's a really great one. This is an annual. It might be the only annual I have, and it smells like maple syrup. You probably have never heard of this plant, but you've seen it. When you grow it and you watch it, you'll recognize it all over roadside. It's one of my favorites. Um, this is mountain mint. Has a scent to it. It's a short one. I've only grown it for 1 year, so I don't know much about it. Black-eyed Susan, we have a native one, but this is a non-native one. The native one is rare. So we should, when we see black-eyed Susans, we should assume it's the non-native one. Little blue stem, it's what I have in the meadow at Watson Park and at my work in Framingham, little blue stem meadow. It has winter interest because it stays up all winter. When it snows heavy, the snow will flatten it. When that snow melts, it will bounce right back up. It's a host plant, 3 feet tall. Mad Dog skullcap is a short one, 2 feet blue. Blue-eyed grass, I tried to grow it a couple years in a row and it didn't work. And then this year it just started popping up in my garden and at home. So I co-located it to a place that I have erosion, hoping it will slow down that erosion and stabilize that bank. And I heard it's aggressive, I guess by seed. So you have to watch it. Here's another white goldenrod, also called silver rod. It's really pretty. Mine didn't get 3 feet tall, but it might be because it was the first year or the soil where I have it. Gray goldenrod, this one's definitely local ecotype because no one's buying this plant to put it in their garden. So I collected this in a field roadside. The other one I have that is local ecotype is called uh, the common name I think is dwarf goldenrod, uh, downy goldenrod. But the first year downy stays small, and so next year I'll have lots of seeds of the downy goldenrod. It's also a short one, just like this gray. I'm gonna switch out a lot of my goldenrods to these short ones. Sweet goldenrod smells like licorice. It's shortish, 3 feet. Stiff goldenrod, you'll see that roadside a lot. The leaves are thick, rigid. It's 4 feet. I don't think it's aggressive. When I see it the roadside, it doesn't make monocultures. So I think it behaves. Showy goldenrod is the best one if you're concerned about the at-risk bees. It's the only one that the at-risk bees feed on. It it's a 5 footer. In my gardens, it's a floppy one. So I'm gonna try to do this thing called Chelsea chop, where late spring I'll chop it back. I'll cut it down, not to the bottom, but I'll just cut the top 2 feet off or whatever, and then it will grow from below where I cut, so it will stay shorter. And I'm hoping that will keep the weight on the lower part, so it doesn't get floppy. I'm gonna try that as a test. I've done it on several of these others, and it works on most. It does not work on the foxglove beard tongue. That one did not grow at all after I cut that one. It just stayed where I cut it. But most of these other ones did grow back, and some went to flower less, some flowered the same amount. These two are mowable shrubs. Usually the spireas you see are the non-native ones. These two are the native and they're mowable, meaning you can all spireas you can cut down and it will grow back in the spring. The meadowsweet is taller. It says 4 feet. I see it taller than that. And steeplebush is a 3 footer. So if you're concerned about height, steeplebush would be the better one if you want short. Bluewood aster is a shade one. All these asters, they flower later. This is what's feeding the pollinators later in the season. Blue is shorter. Panicled is taller and a bit leggier. Calico grows in shade, and so does the bluewood aster. Um, New England aster is a real rock star. It's so beautiful. If you've never seen it up close, look at the flower. It's just really amazing. And I did Chelsea chop on that because it's tall. Not on the whole thing, just on part of it to see what would happen, and it worked. So if you don't want a 5 footer, but you want that beautiful flower, you can Chelsea chop that one each year. New York Aster, a friend collected that one roadside for me. I'm not positive it's New York Aster, but when he put it in the bag and I identified it when the seeds were still attached to the stem after it had, finished flowering, it identified as New York Aster. So I'm not positive, but that's what the plant app said. So we'll see. But I'm sure it's native because of where he collected it. It wasn't someone's garden or escaped from a garden because he was way, way away from houses. I'm not grown blue vervain, but I have seeds. Someone gave me seeds. You can look that one up. I'm going to grow it now for the first time. And the last two are zizias. The meadow zizia is shorter one. The leaf is heart-shaped. I didn't collect many seeds from that one this year because the rabbits got that one. And the golden Alexander was right near it, and the rabbits didn't go after that one, only the meadow zizia. So if you're worried about pests and you don't want to get heartbroken when your plant disappears, you'd want the golden Alexander. All right, that was lightning round. I hope you were able to hope that helped you make decisions on which ones to order for your garden. All right, see you in the workshops.